What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with the overall market and talk about this big news that came out for Tesla. I'm going to break down what data is going to be dropping very soon to cause more volatility for the markets as well, and how Tesla's now looking, considering the fact that we have some interesting signals. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Webull link. The offer ends very soon. If you deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed 6 to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's talk about the market. How are things looking? So for Tesla, I have some good news and bad news. Okay. The good news for Tesla is this. We have the new Model 3 Highland coming out. They've officially unveiled the new design with very, very nice looking features. The new lights just look absolutely beautiful. And the new LEDs, I think they just look really awesome. It really reminds me of the Roadster, especially, and it looks very, very cool. I just can't wait to see how this, continues moving forward. It just looks very, very awesome. And I'm very excited about how this is going to continue to move the company moving forward. So this is very exciting news for them. We saw a lot of these improvements in China, and it's just going to be released very soon. So people are so excited about this. This new design is huge for them. But then the question is, will this be, a market moving event for Tesla to cause it to pump much higher, or is this going to be like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event? And I just want to tell you all, I'm going to be in the middle for now. The technicals are telling us that there should be a sell off coming soon for Tesla. But the question is, will it happen as soon as today, or is it going to happen like early next week? And it could be either one of them. I just want to be open minded right now. So here's how I'm going to go about Tesla by watching these particular levels. Now, for Tesla, if we break and hold 260, we could pump a little bit more. There's a possibility of it. Now, if you're worried about like missing out, I just want to let you guys know we didn't really move that much yesterday. So if you did try to like sell out of it and you were scared, you could always just try to enter calls or re-enter a position just temporarily. If you just want to like scalp a position, there still is time and room because Tesla's still very flat and hasn't really moved much. But I just want to make it clear that we could get a pop. There's a real possibility of that, but you want to watch, could we hold 260? If we hold above 260, then there's potential for 262 and then potentially like 265 above that. Then you also want to watch, do we get rejected off 260 and kind of like remain range bound? If we're stuck between, if we fail to hold 260, you're going to be watching 255 as critical support because that's been the major support for Tesla for the last 3 days. 255 is major support and then 260 is major resistance, and we're likely going to just go back and forth and back and forth. However, if there ends up being some kind of like break below, the 255 support, and Tesla ends up breaking below that, that's going to be a bearish signal, and Tesla's going to start sinking, and we're going to watch it come all the way down to about 250, in my opinion. So I hope this is as clear as possible. You're going to be watching these ranges just to know which way Tesla's going to go. It's actually quite straightforward and simple. Now, once again, there is a warning I have for everyone. We do have this bearish divergence that's continuing to develop. I don't know if this is going to truly be a buy the rumor, sell the news event because, with these news events that come out, you never know exactly how it's going to go. But here's what I'm going to tell you. There is a risk of a sell-off coming soon. There is a risk of that just looking at the technicals. It could happen in the future. It doesn't have to happen as soon as today now that this new news came out. It may happen as soon as like next week. So we're just going to be watching 255. Could we hold above 255? If we do, then it's fine. Tesla's not going to sell off just yet. If we break below it, then there's a risk, and I just want everyone to be prepared for that just to be safe. So there's a triple bearish divergence on Tesla telling us a sell-off will be coming soon. Maybe today, maybe a little bit early next week. So we just want to be prepared for this. You want to be ready just in case. So watch 255 as major support, watch 260 as our resistance, and we will see what happens from there because all this data is coming out. I also want to add that for SPY and all the other tickers, and including Tesla, 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI data, and we also have the manufacturing PMI coming out 30 minutes after the market opens. This data is going to cause even more volatility. But the reason why the market ended up like pushing up this morning is because the unemployment rate was 3.8%. Non-farm payrolls were 187,000 for today. This data just came out in the morning, and the market has liked this so far because with lower higher unemployment, the market tends to like that because the Fed is de-incentivized to be more hawkish, and it's once again putting the Fed at bay. So the market liked the data so far in the morning, but we're gonna be watching the PMI reports 15 minutes and 30 minutes after the market opens. Expect some more volatility. And as you can see, we're seeing more headlines about the non-farm payrolls and also the unemployment rate, which rose 0.3%. Also, right here, futures have been up thanks to it. And there's some news about new health changes that are being made by regulators. The fact that we're looking at the jobs numbers and the market's reacting, and how August is looking relatively tough. There are lots of these puts expiring, and max pain's 445, so the market makers do not have to cause a massive short squeeze. They could be fine if we even see SPY drop a little bit. So they're not incentivized to push us that hard. We just want to be open minded just to be safe. Uh, we're going to be watching our particular levels, and we're going to be seeing how we react to the PMI report. And then don't forget, Tesla has this new variant. So going forward, don't forget to watch these ranges on Tesla. Let's see some high volatility 15 minutes and 30 minutes after the market opens. And then we're going to be watching, can we hold above 260 temporarily? Could we push above that and hold above it? If we manage to do so, Tesla could push for these higher levels. 262 to 265 is a possibility. But if it does push higher, don't forget about this bearish divergence, which is still developing, right? It's developing. There's a difference between being fully developed and developing. And this could lead to a sell-off either as soon as today, like later on during the day, if not by next week. So just be very careful and watch and see how it holds. And if we end up breaking later on today below 255, that's going to be our bearish signal. That's going to break below this range, and Tesla's going to start selling off later on if that ends up happening. So that could be, next week or as soon as today. So just be very careful. For SPY, if you manage to hold above 453, this thing could remain bullish and retest 454. I think we're gonna get a pop when we open, but it may start to sell off a little bit over time. And if we end up breaking below 452, that's going to be our critical support. If that breaks, okay, if we break below 452, the bears could have an edge and try pushing this closer to about 451.13 than 450 to fill this gap. The bears will have a bigger edge if we break below 452 if we end up failing at this level. Now, there is a triple bearish divergence on SPY that's developing as well, which tells us that a sell-off is possible. But just to be safe, we want to watch and see how we hold these levels. If it holds above 453, we can start pushing higher. I think we're going to get a pop when we open, maybe a drop later on. If it breaks below 452 during the drop, then this thing can start sinking even lower. With Apple has that unfilled gap on the daily chart. Let me just pull up the daily chart on Apple. Apple may try to either fill this gap up here, kind of like fill this gap around 190, which could push the market up higher before we end up coming down. And if that happens, just for Tesla, by the way, we might see Tesla pop because of that. But just be careful with these fake outs. If it is like a very short term push, just like how we saw it yesterday, or if Tesla could actually hold 260 in a very sustainable manner. So if it does so, we could see this thing start pushing for 265 or so. But even if Tesla does that, like I said, the bearish divergence, if it's still present, there's a risk of a sell-off, maybe going into next week or something like that. So just be prepared for that. Just be open-minded, watch your levels very carefully. Anyways, Apple may push for this 190 area. If it pushes higher, okay, this could push the market up. And if we reject off that 190 area, that is going to be the thing that pushes the market down. We're just going to be waiting for Apple for the time being. It is still overbought, and it still has those bearish divergences, but they could still be developing. So one little push on Apple before this thing starts to slow down is another possibility. The QQQ is approaching the gap, the unfilled gap right here at this 382 level. We could see one more push before this thing ends up coming right back down. Nvidia as well, this thing is trying to hold up for the time being. You're going to be watching this high that was made at this 502 level. Then we have 505 and 509 above that. If we could break 500, if we project off of it, we could still see that rejection, and we could still see Nvidia sink, because Nvidia still technically has, once again, these signals suggesting that it's losing its strength. So we're going to be watching this 500 area. Could Nvidia hold above that or not? If it does so, it could turn more bullish. If not, we could reject and come right back down to about 490. Watch 490 and 488 and 485 as supports. The dollar is dropping a little bit as of right now, but it's starting to, it's basically gapping down. So if the dollar starts pushing to fill this gap, this could slow the market down. We're going to be watching to see if that ends up being the case, and we just want to be open-minded nonetheless. Last but not least, I think that's pretty much it for the video. I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular day, guys. Don't forget, we have some big data coming out 15 minutes and 30 minutes after the market opens for the PMI reports, which are going to cause more volatility. There is a bearish divergence developing on Tesla. Remember, the keyword is developing. It has not fully developed. So we'll see if it leads to a sell-off today or by early next week. And for now, watch 260 is critical resistance. I want to repeat this one more time. You're going to be watching that to see if Tesla could hold that. If it holds it, it could push higher to 262 to 265. And then 255 is going to be our critical support. If that breaks, then we could turn more bearish. Watch the levels carefully. Do what you have to do, guys. And I thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day. Do what you have to do. Get ready for some high volatility. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you and peace out.